If you watch photography related content here on YouTube, you've probably heard the term S-curve, but today I want to show you how to make one that's fitted for your image and not just a generic thing that will add contrast by lowering your shadows and raising your highlights. But first of all, let's actually define what's a highlight and what's a shadow, because I like to shoot a bit underexposed, and that means that if I just drop 3 points on my curve, roughly at the intersection of the lines, and lower the shadows and increase the highlights, I would actually darken my photo way too much. So instead, I'm gonna reset the curve and I'm gonna use the eyedropper to pick on the brightest spot on my skin and increase that, and that's actually my highlight, and as you can see, it's really close to the midpoint of my curve. And at a theoretical level, that's not even a highlight, that's a midtone, but in my photo, that was the brightest part, especially brightest part of my skin. So for that specific photo, that's a highlight, and that's the part that I want to boost with an S-curve. And now I want to do a similar thing for the shadow, but if I pick the shadow part of my shirt over here, which is technically darker than this hotspot right here, I'm gonna add a point that's super close to the one that I've dropped before for my highlights. And that's no bueno. Again, I'm creating way too much contrast and I don't want to do that. So undo, and this time I'm gonna go on this under pocket right here and I'm gonna lower that because that's a zone with shadows that I don't really want to see in the final image, so it's okay to darken them. But wait a second, there's more. We can actually define a midpoint and make sure that it's on the median line. And this way we can get much better control, and for my image over here, it would look much better if I have my midpoint a bit lower on the spectrum. And just to make sure that this point is actually on the middle of the line, I'm gonna make sure that the input and the output are the same by using my keyboard. So when you're trying to add contrast to your photo with an S-curve, don't make it generic, because at that point you could just use the contrast later. Instead, make sure you add an S-curve that is based on the content of your photo. And this also applies to color curves, but we're not talking about those today. So hit the subscribe button and check back tomorrow.